Hello, I brought a little show and tell with me. I'm Bob Jeney with Capnia, and I'm the head of sales and marketing, and excited to be here to share the innovative technology that will revolutionize diagnosing hemolysis in the newborn and improve overall hyperbilirubinemia management. Little trivia. And so what test is considered the most accurate test for diagnosing and quantifying hemolysis in the newborn? Dat-Coombs, BTIC, end-tidal carbon monoxide, or rate of rise? Surprise, it's end-tidal carbon monoxide. It is more sensitive, more specific, fewer false positives and negatives, and actually measures hemolysis directly. End-tidal carbon monoxide, the small c, is corrected for ambient carbon monoxide, and it's important because it can play a vital role in diagnosing hemolysis early and accurately. This is the technology. It consists of a monitor that performs the test and a dedicated cannula that has one prong that fits into the nostril. It's simple. Non-invasive breath test that's performed at the bedside. It takes only 15 to 20 seconds to perform it, so the cannula is put on either around the head or just held to the nostril. You press the button, it senses the breath, it collects the sample, it isolates the end-tidal breath, and then quantifies the amount of carbon monoxide in that breath in less than 5 minutes at the bedside. It's the only device that can actually measure the production of bilirubin. And the key is the 1-to-1 ratio between carbon monoxide and unconjugated bilirubin in a 1-to-1 ratio. This technology, since 2015, when we received the FDA approval, actually has had 19 studies, most of them in the last 5 to 6 years, including 2 recent studies of 2,500 babies that was conducted in the Guangzhou province in China. They're finishing another 2,500 patients as we speak, and then a 1,000-patient study where they screened all babies in the well nursery at Einstein in Philadelphia. So some results. So end-tidal carbon monoxide, how many know that this has actually been included in the AAP guidelines since 2004? So it also was included in 2022. In the guidelines. The guidelines also suggest to diagnose hemolysis from any cause, but they don't provide any guidelines or guidance in the guidelines with regards to what tests. So some of your top key opinion leaders, like Dr. Christensen and Barr from the University of Utah, Dr. Stevenson and Bhutani, came together and published an article that said of all the tests, and they compared 10 tests for hemolysis and found that ETCO was most deserving of a gold standard test because of sensitivity, specificity, few false positives and negatives, and accurately measures hemolysis. And it's non-invasive breath test that can be done at the bedside. The studies they reviewed also, one of them was a nomogram study that was done, showed sensitivity of 92%, specificity of 98%, and that hemolysis was relatively constant over the first 48 to 72 hours. In the screening study at Thomas Jefferson, they found that 83 out of 1,000 babies were significantly hemolytic, but were Dat-Coombs negative and had no other risk factors. Also, that same study showed and repeated or found the same results from a prior study from Dr. Schutzman, was that only 22.6% of Dat-Coombs positive babies were truly hemolyzing. So Dat-Coombs is not a particularly good test, at least not a gold standard for diagnosing hemolysis. And overall in that study, they found that it reduced readmissions, that it also reduced the number of blood tests done, and then that there were savings associated with those outcomes. So how do you incorporate it into your practice, and what impact does it have? First is undiagnosed hemolysis and neurotoxicity often goes unnoticed, so underappreciated and thus undertreated. By focusing on that 8 to 10% of babies that are hemolytic and have no other risk factors, many of them, it allows you to focus on those babies and bring the thresholds down for those particular babies that are truly hemolytic, not necessarily because they're DAT positive. A delayed diagnosis. We measure bilirubin at 24 to 36 hours, ETCO can actually be performed within hours of life, and so it can detect hemolysis early and accurately. And then unnecessary interventions. So a baby that's DAT Coombs positive, we automatically put in this neurotoxicity risk factor group. But if only 23 to 25% of those babies are hemolyzing, we're overtreating those babies or putting them in a category where we start going down a road with doing more heel sticks, more blood tests, so on and so forth. So we can reduce readmissions, lab tests, and length of stay by diagnosing hemolysis early and accurately. So how do you implement it? It can be easily implemented with your current care model by doing a ETCO test along with your TC-Billy, either ETCO first and then your TC-Billy, so we're using the correct thresholds. Follow the ETCO protocol, which has been developed by key opinion leaders, and I'll share with you in a sec. And then use Billy tool, PD tool, or other risk models along with ETCO and diagnosing hemolysis. The protocol that was developed incorporates the AEP guidelines and then also follows the hemolytic as well as a non-hemolytic pathway. So if we can identify hemolysis, we're using the proper protocols. And I have that to share with you as well. So in conclusion, we can improve the management of hyperbilirubinemia by focusing on diagnosing hemolysis early and accurately, incorporating the protocol, which I've outlined, and can change the care path of up to 10 to 12% of your babies, focus resources on babies with hemolysis, reduce readmissions, blood draws, and costs associated with those, and most importantly, prevent bilirubin-mediated encephalopathy and those long-term consequences. So after 20 years of clinical validation, ETCO is ready for universal adoption, universal screening, so help us ensure that every baby gets the best start in life. Thank you.